rate in 70 years for America's women. At the same time, inflation continues to fall. It's now around 3%, about 1/3 of what it was 1 year ago. In fact, we learned yesterday that over the past 3 months, inflation was close to what it was before the pandemic. And incomes are higher now than they were before the pandemic. While pay for
Now, the bill has also enhanced the federal Medicaid matching funds, and during this unwinding, millions of people are expected to lose coverage, and that could reverse recent gains in coverage too. While the number of Medicaid enrollees may be disenrolled during the unwinding period is highly uncertain, experts estimate between 7.8 and 24 million people could lose Medicaid coverage this year alone. Folks, the lawmakers are taking action. Billions of federal aid are being used towards new relief payments, and a one-time direct check worth $100,000 will be deposited. This is necessary action as millions of Americans continue to struggle due to the crisis. And while the federal government is dealing with a debt crisis, many local states have a cash surplus and rainy day funds. As a result, 27 states are considering cutting taxes or eliminating them altogether. According to the National Association of State Budget Officers, there has been 2 short years of widespread budget surpluses amid recent state policy. The Institution of Taxation and Economic Policy suggests that many states have now tax cut fever and are looking at offering property tax cuts, rebate checks, and reducing the amount of income taxes paid. In the case of Mississippi and Arkansas, cutting state income tax altogether is their plan. But CBS has noted that there are a number of reasons that state lawmakers have provided for the move. It includes making their states more economically competitive, boosting their growth, and boosting taxpayers who are struggling with inflation. For instance, the Georgia governor signed a bill that would give people in Georgia state income tax refunds. That means you can get up to $500 in your bank account for just owning a home. Single taxpayers and filers married jointly who will get $500 and $250 too as well. And head of household filers will get $375, and married people who file joint returns will get an additional $500 based on individual or couple's tax liability.
That we felt confident our resources could last until the beginning of June.
Okay. All right, I'm going to move on. I did reclaiming my time. I did read the statements. You had said June 1st or the following weeks, at which then tightened up, and that's fine. That's not what we're here today.
Folks, the Social Security Administration is at risk of defaulting, and when that happens, that means no Social Security benefits anymore. New payments will be going out to eligible seniors in just a couple of days, so get your stimulus ready. You can be getting it actually sooner than we all expected. That's because of what this President Biden just did for the 4th stimulus check. Watch this, folks. You don't want to miss out on the important news. Nearly all American workers are eligible for Social Security. People can choose to start receiving them pretty much at the age of 62. Full retirement age is currently set at 67, and that's even for people who were born in the 60s. But nearly 90% of eligible Americans claim Social Security at or before the full retirement age, with about 1/3 of beneficiaries claiming to age 62 as their earliest time possible. But if you are one of the few who can hold out and start claiming later, well, it's going to have significant impacts on your financial life. According to economists, lawmakers, things like this, Social Security is just careening towards insolvency. The only question up for debate is when it will happen. The Fed's program trustees stated that in their latest update, Social Security's trust funds will run out of money in 2035. But less than 2 months ago, the Budget Office projected Social Security would become insolvent in just 10 years. But contrary to some American fears, Social Security benefits won't be cut when the trust funds are exhausted. Payroll taxes at current levels should enable the program to continue paying around 80% of benefits. Still, those steep benefit cuts could hurt the millions of retirees. Politicians in both major political parties want to prevent this from happening. In particular, Joe Biden wants to make wages more subject to taxes. Currently, Americans pay this payroll tax only on income of up to $160,000. Under Biden's campaign plan, though, any income above $400,000 per year will be taxed. One key downside of that is that it would be enough to tax the Social Security by itself. The Urban Institute 2020 analysis
About
it was consistent with that side.
Reclaiming my
forecast.
time on this, because I do want to hit on the International Development Finance Corporation as well, but I am also going to say something, repeat something to you that I've repeated to every other person from.
We have a ton of news about the fourth stimulus checks, Social Security benefits, SSI, and SSDI. A ton of news about the fourth stimulus payments are coming in. I have a lot of information that I'm going to share with you guys today in this video, so continue watching. The several lawmakers, everybody in Congress, have discussed new inflation relief checks for the people. So if you reside in states like Minnesota or Massachusetts, well, you may qualify for at least another stimulus check this year. It comes as budgets are being finalized, states are planning to use the budget surpluses for another round of checks. So a lot of good things are happening in Congress, and a lot of stimulus payments can actually be sent out faster than we ever thought in the history of our lives. So, as I was saying, it's official. The governor in several states like Minnesota have actually hoped to include a tax rebate in the state's upcoming budget. It comes from the announcements of the state's budget. It's set to go for January 24. And according to the Associated Press, well, the budget will propose indexing state aid for school districts just to help combat inflation. So Waltz has told reporters that I think people are feeling inflation. Even though it might be cooling a little bit, there's a slight sense of urgency among people to get something done. And that's good here. Something should be done because the Governor Waltz's original pitch for the tax rebates has been quite generous for a lot of people. It gives single filers, for instance, a lot of breathing room, a lot of time to just think about what they can do, and now the government has already signed them into a second term. So, though not all of these fellow lawmakers share the priorities, though, because the House Speaker and Majority Leader claimed they wanted to prioritize tax credits for families, giving the families $3,000 for every child 5 or younger, with a cap of $7,500. Even the Massachusetts governor and top lawmakers signaled that a clear picture of potential tax relief may not even emerge until at least the end of January, when a key final metric is actually heard of. So one governor, for instance, said their teams are working closely through numbers and evaluating what's possible. They said that we told reporters how important it is to make sure that we're doing everything we can for the residents of the state. And Healy on the campaign trail had vowed to make progressive permanent tax relief her day one priority. She also had largely echoed support for the now former governor Charlie Baker's sweeping tax cut proposal last year. And low, middle, and income residents have all received some stimulus payments just to stop the crying at least. But now the IRS said it recently finished correcting tax returns, filing that for 2020. And so the IRS said, folks, that the average tax refund is around $1,200, with tax agencies sending a total of $15 billion back to the taxpayers. So while taxpayers were sent letters from the IRS just to inform them about the fixes to the 2020 tax filings, well, tax review came due to the American Rescue Plan. It was signed by Joe Biden, we all know that, and because the IRS, it reviewed returns filed by workers and even other people who have jobless aid as income. So the IRS told CNBC that some taxpayers received refunds, while others received overpayment applied due to taxes or other debts. In some cases, the exclusion only resulted in a reduction in their adjusted gross income. But now we know that about 14 million tax returns were corrected. The IRS issued refunds for 12 million of those filings. It added individuals, married couples whose adjusted gross income was below $150,000, or who were eligible